They laughed when I said I was an artist, and that laugh changed everything. It happened at a family dinner that was supposed to celebrate my graduation. The table was crowded, plates heavy with food, voices overlapping with pride that didn't belong to me. I sat there in my black robe earlier that day, diploma still warm in my hands, thinking maybe tonight would be different. Maybe this time they'd look at me like I mattered. When my uncle talked about his promotion, everybody leaned in. When my cousin mentioned her nursing job, the room hummed with approval. Then someone turned to me. "So what are you doing now, Marcus?" I smiled. I always smiled. "I'm building my art career. Digital illustration, branding, commissions." Silence. Then a soft laugh. "That's cute," my aunt said. My uncle shook his head. "That's a hobby, not a job." Laughter followed, not loud, not cruel. Comfortable. Familiar. Like they'd already agreed who I was without me in the room. I looked down at my plate and felt something cold settle in my chest. That steak? I paid for it. The groceries that week? Me. The electricity humming above us? Also me. But none of that counted, because I didn't wear a uniform or clock in somewhere they respected. When the check came, my mom slid it toward me without looking. "You got this, right?" I nodded. Like always. As I paid, I realized something painful and clear. They didn't see me as an artist. They didn't even see me as a man trying. They saw me as useful, quietly, invisibly useful. And that night, something in me stopped reaching. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I decided to change one thing, and let it speak for me. Once the laughter faded, I started remembering things differently. Not emotionally, financially. Every time the fridge was suddenly full. Every time the lights almost went out. Every, just until Friday, transfer that never came back. I'd paid for groceries more times than I could count. Covered rent gaps when checks came up short. Sent money late at night when panic replaced pride on the other end of the phone. I never announced it. I thought family support wasn't supposed to come with receipts. But silence doesn't look like sacrifice. It looks like absence. One afternoon, my brother leaned against my doorframe scrolling his phone. "Hey, can you send me something real quick? I'm short." No explanation. No embarrassment. I asked, "For what?" He frowned like I'd insulted him. "Why you asking questions?" That was the moment I understood, they didn't disrespect me accidentally. They'd gotten comfortable doing it. Comfort grows when consequences never arrive. That night, I opened my banking app and stared at the numbers. Not with anger, with clarity. I realized how much of my effort went into maintaining peace instead of building my future. And I wondered something dangerous. What would happen if I stopped? I didn't announce my decision. I let the next bill come due. The barbecue smelled like smoke and cheap cologne. Everybody was relaxed. That's when people are the most honest. My uncle slapped my shoulder. "So Picasso, how's the art thing?" I smiled politely. He raised his voice. "Art don't pay bills, nephew. You better find something real." Laughter erupted. Someone handed me a drink. Another joke followed. Then he added, casual as weather, "I mean, you don't really contribute anyway." The words didn't hit hard. They slid in slow, quiet, like poison mixed into water. I felt anger rise. Not explosive. Focused. Heavy. They announced a family trip later that night. Deposits due soon. Everybody looked at me without saying my name. I nodded once. But inside, something snapped into place. That was the last time. The next morning, the money didn't move. I didn't announce anything. That was the part nobody expected. No speech. No argument. No, since y'all don't appreciate me, conversation. I just stopped moving money the way I always had. At first, nothing happened. That's how invisible support works, people don't notice it until it's gone. The fridge emptied faster than usual. Someone forgot to replace things. Lights stayed on, but only because deadlines hadn't arrived yet. Comfort has a delay before it collapses. I stayed quiet and watched. I redirected everything into myself. A new drawing tablet that didn't lag. Software I'd been pirating because I didn't feel worth paying for it before. Online courses taught by people who spoke about art like it was survival, not playtime. I worked late into the night, headphones tight, room dim, letting focus replace frustration. The house felt different. Conversations shortened. Doors slammed a little harder. My mom stood longer at the counter reading envelopes. My uncle paced during phone calls he didn't want overheard. Nobody asked me directly, not yet. Pride still stood between them and the truth. And that silence? It was peaceful. Not angry. Not cruel. Just clean. For the first time, my effort wasn't cushioning disrespect. It was building something solid under my own feet. I realized then that money isn't loud, absence is. The first late notice arrived, and someone finally said my name out loud. Stress doesn't shout at first. It sighs. It tightens voices. It turns jokes into complaints. You've been distant lately, my mom said one night, not looking at me. I shrugged. Busy. Bills started appearing on the counter like silent witnesses. The fridge grew emptier. The house felt colder even when the heat was on. Comfort was leaking, and they didn't know where the hole was. Then came the comments. You need to help more, my aunt said, arms crossed like authority. We're all struggling, my uncle added. We're family, my brother said, like it was a contract. I listened. Let them speak. Let them remember how easy things used to be. Finally, I said one sentence. Calm. Clear. I thought I didn't contribute. The room froze. Nobody laughed. Nobody argued. They remembered every joke. Every dismissal. Every time they'd spoken around me instead of to me. But still, no apology came. They changed the subject. Like accountability could be skipped the same way respect had been. That's when I knew something important. They didn't feel bad yet. They felt inconvenienced. And inconvenience isn't regret, it's entitlement getting uncomfortable. While they argued about money, my art started making more than they ever imagined. The first stranger paid me without asking what my backup plan was. Then another. And another. Commissions stacked quietly. A logo here. A brand identity there. People emailed me with respect in their tone, excitement in their words. They didn't ask if art was real. They asked how soon I could start. I worked harder than ever, not out of desperation, but clarity. Every stroke felt intentional. Every late night felt chosen. One evening, I opened social media and froze. My cousin had shared my work. No credit. No tag. Just pride. Family talent, she wrote. I didn't comment. Didn't correct her. Didn't claim anything. Because I noticed something else. They believed in me once it looked profitable. That stung more than the jokes ever did. At dinner, I heard my name spoken with pride, but not to me. They bragged sideways. Borrowed my success like they'd borrowed my money. Nobody asked how I was doing. Nobody apologized. They just enjoyed the shine. And then, they finally asked where the money had gone. They sat me down like adults preparing for bad news. Soft voices. Careful words. We just want to understand, my mom said. Where did the money go? I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I opened my laptop. Transfers. Dates. Amounts. Years of quiet support nobody remembered until it vanished. Groceries. Rent gaps. Utilities. Emergencies. All mine. Faces changed slowly, like something sinking in too deep to stop. How long? My uncle whispered. Long enough, I said. No anger in my voice. No satisfaction either. Just truth. They finally saw the version of me they'd ignored, responsible, consistent, carrying weight without applause. The room stayed quiet. Not shocked. Ashamed. And then came the apologies, the careful kind. Apologies sound different when they come after leverage disappears. We didn't mean it like that. You know how we joke. We always supported you. The words floated, soft and cautious. Then came the request. Just this once, my uncle said. We'll figure things out later, my mom added. I looked at them and realized something strange. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I can't, I said. I won't. No yelling. No insults. No revenge speech. Just boundaries. Their faces told me everything, disbelief first, then fear. They weren't losing money, they were losing access. That night, I started packing. I packed quietly. Folded clothes. Organized tools. Backed up files. No one stopped me. My brother hovered. My mom cried real tears this time, not panic ones. My uncle avoided my eyes. Someone finally said it. Soft. Honest. We always knew your art was real. I smiled. I know. I didn't leave angry. I left clear. Clear about who I was. Clear about what I deserved. Clear about what silence had taught me. I closed the door without slamming it. I live alone now. Walls covered in my work. Peace thick enough to breathe. My art feeds me. My boundaries protect me. They still talk about me, carefully now. With respect they found too late. I didn't win by proving them wrong. I won by choosing myself quietly. That's how my revenge spoke. Without raising its voice.